The sun was a ruthless master in the western skies, burning everything it touched with a merciless glare. The town of Sable Creek lay beneath its wrath like a forgotten scar on the desert floor. The wooden buildings, leaning as though weary of time itself. Dust swirled through the streets, carrying with it the scent of sage and danger. A lone horse's hoofbeats echoed in the distance, not urgent, but deliberate, an arrival that demanded attention without a word. From the horizon, a figure emerged, cloaked in tattered leather, a wide-brimmed hat casting a shadow over a face hardened by the wind and sun. In their hand glinted a curved sword, the metal catching the sun's dying light as if it held a secret flame. Every step of the horse seemed purposeful, each hooffall a drumbeat heralding a storm yet to come. The townsfolk peeked from behind shuttered windows, whispers carried by the wind. "It's her! The Crimson Blade!" a woman muttered, gripping her shawl tighter. Tales of the warrior had traveled farther than any gunshot ever could. She wasn't a killer by nature, but the deserts demanded strength, and those who opposed her found the sharpness of her steel and the swiftness of her horse too much to escape. In the center of town, Marshal Trent, the self-proclaimed guardian of Sable Creek, paced impatiently. He was not used to fear that didn't come from guns. He had faced outlaws, yes, but none like her. She fought with a sword, and she fought with a fury that made the air itself shiver. Rumors told that she had once faced 5 men at the same time, disarming them with precision and leaving none alive to speak of it. The townsfolk held their breath as she dismounted, her boots kicking up sand like sparks from a fire. She moved with the grace of a predator, each motion measured, every glance calculating. Her eyes were pools of ice, reflecting a past no one dared speak of. Children whispered that she had been trained by the desert spirits themselves, that every gust of wind carried their lessons to her hands. Marshal Trent stepped forward, hand resting not on a gun, but on the hilt of his own sword. Steel would meet steel today, and he knew it. Pride had brought him this far. But the Crimson Blade was a storm contained in human form. "You've come far," Trent said, voice steady but tight. "The desert has claimed many before you. Why seek Sable Creek?" Her lips curved in the faintest of smirks. "I'm not here to claim the town," she said, voice like a whispering gale. "I'm here for the man who calls himself its protector. Tell me, Marshal, do you wield your sword with honor or just with fear?" The air thickened. Dust swirled violently around them, as though the desert itself leaned in to witness what was coming. Horses in nearby stables whinnied nervously. The townsfolk froze, sensing a storm beyond the ordinary. Marshal Trent raised his sword, the sunlight igniting its edge. The Crimson Blade unsheathed her own, the metal hissing like a promise. Silence fell over the street, the wind holding its breath. And then, in a single heartbeat, she moved, a blur of motion. The clash of steel rang out, not loud like a gunshot, but sharp enough to pierce the still air. Sparks flew, and the ground beneath them seemed to tremble. She was fast, faster than he could anticipate, spinning, leaping, striking with precision. Every parry he made was tested, every defense challenged. Yet she did not fight recklessly. Each strike had purpose, each movement a story of countless battles. Her eyes met his for the briefest of moments, and in them he saw not malice, but a force of nature that could not be tamed. The battle was far from over, but already the town of Sable Creek felt changed. The desert had sent its storm in the form of a lone rider with a crimson blade, and the winds whispered that no one, no hero, no outlaw would ever look at swords or horses, or the desert in the same way again. As the sun dipped below the jagged horizon, shadows stretched long across the streets. The first chapter of reckoning had begun, and the air tasted of steel sand and the unyielding promise of battle. The wind howled through Sable Creek like a living beast, carrying dust and the scent of impending fate. Marshal Trent faced the Crimson Blade, both exhausted, sweat and sand clinging to their skin. Their swords were nicked and scratched, but neither wavered. "Why fight me?" Trent gasped, chest heaving. What do you want from this town?" Her eyes softened, just for a moment, revealing a flicker of something human. "I didn't come for the town, or even for you." I came to remind the desert that strength lies in honor, not fear. Trent tightened his grip, but realization dawned. She was right. His years of ruling with intimidation had made him forget the code he once swore to uphold. With a swift motion, the crimson blade disarmed him, not to kill but to humiliate. His sword clattered to the dust. She stepped back, letting him breathe. I win. Not because I'm stronger, she said, voice steady, but because I fight for something greater than myself. The townsfolk, who had been hiding in silence, emerged slowly, eyes wide. They saw the Marshal kneeling, humbled, and the warrior standing tall, not victorious in rage but in principle. Without another word, the crimson blade mounted her horse. The wind carried her away, leaving only the echo of her hooves and the promise that legends never truly die. They ride forever across the desert, and in Sable Creek, a new respect for honor and courage was born. The Marshal would never forget the day a single warrior reminded him that true power comes not from fear, but from integrity. The desert returned to its silence, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows over a town forever changed.